All right, I want to make a very brief video on 2 Peter 2:1, disproving the idea of limited atonement in Calvinism. I mean, I said it would be brief the last video I did, and it turned out to be 18 minutes. I tend to be able to ramble a lot, but hopefully it provides good evidence and detail instead of just repeating myself. So in 2 Peter 2:1, this video should be very straightforward. 2 Peter 2:1 states that these false prophets deny the Lord that bought them. And what does that indicate? It means that Christ, he redeemed as a ransom even the people that deny him, even the people that don't believe. And that doesn't reconcile with limited atonement that says Christ only died for the elect. He only purchased with his blood the elect, which are people that eventually would believe. But this verse makes it clear that God also purchased unbelievers with his blood. And if they accept him as their savior, if they appropriate his sacrifice to their account, because God's not going to impose a free gift on them. If they don't want it, then he's not going to impose that payment. But if they receive that payment to their account, God gives them the gift, the free gift of righteousness, Romans 5:16-18. And the Greek word for bought is agorazo. It only has about 30 instances in the New Testament. But every single instance that you'll notice in relation to Christ, because the Lord here is obviously Christ, in this context, they're denying Christ, damnable heresies. We see this also in 1 John where they deny Christ. They don't confess that Jesus is the Christ. Confess meaning acknowledge, not verbally confess in that context. So they don't acknowledge Jesus is the Christ. They don't actually think that's true. They actually have damnable heresy. They reject Jesus as the Christ, the Savior, the Messiah. So these are the people that bring in damnable heresies. But these are the same people that are bought by his blood. And every single instance of agorazo, or bought, to be purchased, in the context of Christ and in the context of purchasing people. So when you see those two contextual clues with Christ purchasing people, every single instance Christ agorazo people is in relation to his redemptive work, his ransom that he paid on the cross, his finished work of spilling his blood and paying for the sins of mankind. There's no instance that fits those two criteria with Christ, the Lord, and purchasing people as the object. In fact, it's very rare to even see the purchasing people object, unless you're purchasing a slave or something. Obviously, the context is about Christ's redemptive work of purchasing their sins, right? So really, you don't even need the Christ context. Just the fact that you're purchasing people is a strong enough contextual clue that he's talking about the blood of Christ in the New Testament. But once you see the two joined together, Christ, agorazo, or purchase the people, then obviously that's referring to the redemptive work of Christ. So what does that prove? Just to summarize, that Christ paid for the sins of these false prophets. Pretty straightforward, simple. And I can prove that through many other scriptures as well, but this one alone suffices, and it's pretty irrefutable. You have to see these people do mental gymnastics and just basically eisegete into the text and strain the text super hard to make it say something it doesn't say. So God bless. I'll see you in the next video.